Welcome back to YellowCard Vanguard. I'm your host, Toku, from It's Toku TV on Twitch. It has been a long while, and Clan Collection 5 and 6 have already been out for quite some time, but I figured this is going to be a mainstay of the channel, so I've taken some time out of my failing job search to give you, the viewers, what you want. My based, red-pilled, and Replica takes on the new cards and supports for Clan Collections 5 and 6. Once again, we need to preface the video as well as the rest of the series by letting you know that these lists are made at face value using my skills of card evaluation. They will need playtesting to fine-tune, but I hope they will serve as a good reference point for filthy net deckers to piggyback off of. Welcome back to Clan Collection Cores. Now listen here, what if you were playing Bastion, but you were Pale Moon, and also you didn't have the safety net of a ride line? Welcome to Sarah. Sarah is quite literally what would happen if you threw Bastion into the V Premium format. But what's cool about Sarah is that she has some unique support to her deck, as well as unique grade 3s to play with. Whereas they're afraid of printing good grade 3s anymore for Overdress, it seems. Anyways, let's take a look at the package that Sarah got. And thankfully, an actual package and not a boss in some random grade 3 unit. Starting us off is Swordmaster Sara. Vanguard Circle, once per turn, counterblast 1 and Superior Call up to 1 grade 3 from the deck to Rear Circle, and then for the turn, Sarah gains the red text, all of your grade 3 rear guards gain 2k. Hey, wait a minute, this is just Bastion! Oh, they also gain boost? Okay, it's a bit better. She also has the effect that at the end of the battle that a grade 3 appeared in your drive check. This is just Bastion, isn't it? Anyways, at the end of the battle that you got a grade 3 on your drive check, bottom deck 2 normal units from your board and call up to 2 grade 3s from your soul. To be absolutely honest, I don't think Sarah is awful. I would have liked her red text to not be linked to Counterblast and include herself for the 2k gain as well. Having to return only normal units is kind of sad, however, as you can't return the grade 3 Heal Guardians, which would have been perfect. But there are some really good grade 3s that we can call out of Soul, and the multi-attack isn't linked to said Counterblast. The new grade 2, but actually a grade 3, is Pop-Out Chimera. While in rear deck Soul or Trigger Zone, this unit is treated as a grade 3. And then, when you ride into this unit, you can Counterblast 1, Soul Charge 3, and if you Soul Charge your Trigger unit, draw 1. Wait a minute, isn't this demonted? Finally, as a rear guard, if you've called 2 or more cards from Soul this turn, it gains 10k. Honestly, that first effect is very helpful. It means you can use Masquerade Bunny to search it for your grade 2 ride. I wish Bastion had a card like this. Its only drawback is the fact you can't use the second skill on the rearguard placement. It'd be nice to have more than one chance to use it for a Counterblast Soul Charge 3. Then the new grade 1, Engaging Assist. When placed from hand, check top 5 of your deck and put up to 1 grade 3 into Soul and shuffle your deck. Then, as an act skill, retire itself to add a grade 3 from Soul to hand. But if you're not on Sarah, discard a card. This is a pretty interesting paradigm on the grade 3 Searcher archetype. I like that you can get max value out of it boosting or attacking before sacking it off on the next turn after and trading it for another Sarah reride. Or if you want to convert her into shield by grabbing the Heal Guardian, that is also an option as this deck has shit all for shield values. I don't like that it isn't live until you are on Sarah, which means that even if you wanted to grab the Sarah for your grade 3 ride, you would be discarding one afterwards. It also makes it a worse card to play in non-Sarah decks, which is upsetting to see card design-wise. Regardless, it is a consistency booster, so that's welcome. Let's take a look at the list first, and then we'll try and break down what it tries to do. Because Sarah is a deck whose main strategy revolves around grade 3s. We look to play the best grade 3 rearguards for our deck. One of the coolest and implied interactions is being able to use Artilleryman as a really big boost rather than a really big attacker, letting you your soul for future turns. So our very large grade 3 lineup, we look to be on Sarah at all times, so we run 4 copies. And our big booster towards our multi-attack strategy, 4 copies of Artilleryman. We also run 4 copies of Miracle Pop Eva, as she's the best unit to call out for Sarah's skill, giving us a soul refund as well as a draw. For tech grade 3s, we're running triplets of both Dorian and Comicality Chimera. Dorian is also a good unit to call out to just have behind the Vanguard to refill our soul at the end of turn with our called grade 3s and draw a large amount, whereas Comicality lets us have a source of tutorable countercharge. Our grade 2 line is extremely thin. 4 copies of Pop-Out Chimera as our ideal ride and 2 copies of Baton Twirler. The theory is grade 2s have low shield value already, and with pop-out treated as a grade 3 in deck, with 8 grade 3 searches in our grade 1 lineup, I fucking hope we find it. And despite being Bastion, the lack of ride line makes us make concessions in our deck building. Finally, our grade 1 lineup. 4 copies of Assistant, and 4 copies of Masquerade Bunny. These are our grade 3 searchers, or specifically our pop-out Chimera searcher. We have 1 copy of Brazier Bunny because, to be completely honest, I couldn't think of a better card, and Bunny is at least a filter to be able to cycle out extra dead grade 3s for hopefully some shield, as well as emergency soul charge once we hit grade 3. Our trigger lineup runs mandatory Heal Guardian since it's grade 3 and lets us buffer a lot of early game damage because we're going to be no guarding a lot in the later stages of the game. We run 8 crits to make use of our very large artilleryman columns, and finally 4 draw sentinels. To be honest, if there was something to change about the trigger lineup, you could consider changing the draw sentinels to crit sentinels and try to kill your opponent before they kill you, but with a lot of grade 3s in deck, we do have easy discard targets for the PG, so this is kind of still up in the air. So to get into the winning lines of the deck, it's very simple. We want our artillerymen in the back row, attack with our Axels, use Sara to spawn out attackers, and pass crits onto our artilleryman columns. In a perfect game, you drive check a grade 3 heal and a crit every turn and draw grade 1s with Eva. This way, you get enough shield values to deal with the big decks of the format. Some other decks that could be considered, Tricky Assistant could be a cute way to get some spot removal, and unironically, because of how easy it is to filter for grade 3s with engaging Assistant, a 1 or a 2 of end of stage to close out games. 2 other cards that I would like to consider is Endive Beast Tamer and Amusing Bunny. For Endive Beast Tamer, because we have Comicality Chimera to provide countercharge, Endive Beast Tamer provides an easy way of making an artilleryman column. And Amusing Bunny, rather than using it as a ride, we use it as an attacker or a booster to reset units that we want in Soul, specifically Eva. But in conclusion, I think Sara's a meme. I think it can do what it wants to do very well, but what it wants to do very well is not very good. It'd be very nice to see if the Counterblast gave the red text cross turn and gave grade 3s intercept as well as a 5k shield, but perhaps that's asking too much. Don't even get me started on the dreadful chance that we miss grade 3s on our drive checks. In any case, that's it from me for this episode of Clan Collection Course. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and leave a comment down below because every little bit helps. This has been Toku from YellowCard Vanguard. Toku out.